I'm first going to talk about some of the questions that came up in Heidi's talk. So one of the things that Marilyn mentioned was the newsletter. And yes, so what I'm doing with the newsletter is I'm looking at blogs that members are writing, and I'm just picking 3 of them to highlight on the side of the newsletter and putting a little teaser introduction to what your blog is about. And I'm picking those mainly by the name tells you, the top content. So I'm looking at the blogs that are the top content, and then as long as it's not very, salesy or advertising, then I take that one and I move it over to the newsletter, which is a really great opportunity because there's that little teaser there on what it's about. If somebody clicks on the link, they'll go right over to your blog on the Ning. And then also, I know we talked a little bit about the SEO words to use on the Ning, and to use, the words in your comments and when you put the tags in your pictures. Just one thing to think about when you're doing that is your SEO words. They don't have to be branded SEO words. It doesn't have to be, Ashley, Smash Creative Services, and things like that. You actually want SEO words to be more common words that people are going to be looking for, like, Twitter, Facebook, if you are in the health field, how to lose weight or weight loss, more general things, because sometimes people are searching and they don't know that you're the solution yet. So you want to think of the words that they're going to be thinking of before they even get to you. With the quotes, that is a really good point, because there's something called long-tailed keywords, where it's not just a really small word. You can kind of use like a phrase or something like that. So instead of just tagging one of my posts as Twitter, I can put a tag that's "what is Twitter?" or how does it work? And that will get a lot more hits, because a lot of people do go on and they search, and they'll search, how do I do this? They're putting phrases in there. So if you can have some of your keywords that you stick in there and your tags actually be a phrase that you can imagine people going to Google and typing into a search box, that will help you a lot too. And then the biggest thing that I was going to talk about is, when you're using the Ning and you're using the Meetup, where you post and how you post is really important. But the biggest thing is, what you're posting and what you're talking about. Because it's a huge opportunity, but you also have to make sure that you're not, doing damage by putting all your stuff out there. It's a great opportunity to establish yourself as an expert in your field. But sometimes I see people falling into the habit of using it as a platform to push their advertisements out, to push, direct sales messages. And that's really not what it's for. The best way, and it's actually going to be the best marketing technique too, is to use that platform as just a way to give really useful information that people are going to want to read, that they probably have questions on, and that way you're establishing yourself as an expert in what you do, because you're actually giving value to other people. And the other thing is, I know in the chapters we don't overlap, but there's a lot of overlap in all of us. I know what I do, other people do. I'm sure anyone out there, you don't do something that's 100%, doesn't have any kind of business that's like yourself. So the biggest thing when you're pushing your message out there and you're doing things is, people do business because of you. So, it's your platform to show why working with you is different than working with your competitor. It's, you want to actually put your personality out there and kind of show what makes you unique, rather than listing the benefits of your products and services. If you tell people why they should work with you, that is more important than giving them, this is why you should use this and this is why you should use that. Because people probably know they need to use it, but they need to know why they need to come to you to get it. And Heidi covered some of the stuff, so I won't repeat it. So when you're posting those blog posts that are informational, you can use that to keep people on your profile longer. So if I'm gonna, for example, if I post a blog that's on Twitter, I might be, talking about Twitter and how to use it, and I might mention something like Hootsuite. And now instead of going into a whole nother tangent on, Hootsuite or scheduling software, I can just make that a link to a different blog that I wrote about scheduling software. And then that blog can have, information about, Instagram or something like that. And that way people will read your blog and they'll kind of go from blog to blog to blog and not even really know it, because you're just using your own content to keep asking the questions. You're connecting them all together. That keeps them on your page longer. And then when I know I'm talking a lot about the blogs, but this also has to do with the pictures that you post, like she mentioned. Pictures of just like your product on a white background that you're going to use on your website to sell stuff is not really the best use, on your profile page. You have to think of pictures that people are going to find interesting or unique, because if they want to look at pictures of your product, they can go to your website or, go anywhere online to find that. So when you're posting your pictures, just think of things that you'd see on platforms like Pinterest and Instagram. If you're going to post the benefit of your product, or post a recipe or something, do a picture of all the ingredients on the table, rather than a picture with, just text on it. So being really creative with the photos is going to make your photos get a lot more attention than if you're just posting some of those more generic ones. And so with showing your personality, if you think about your favorite brands, and I know I talked about this a little bit when I was in Chapel Hill, what people like today is when you're thinking of a favorite brand or someone you really like, I hear people always tell me that they like Tom's because Tom's gives shoes to people who need shoes, or they like a certain brand of makeup because that brand of makeup doesn't test on animals. So people really care about, not just what you're selling, but who you are and what you stand for. So if you're involved in community organizations or nonprofit organizations or things like that, don't be afraid to put that on your profile and talk about that. Pictures from events that you participate in, how you give back to your community and how you give back to your organizations. That is going to have a big weight on your marketing. I would say more so than even the product and service related posts. And I think there was one thing. Okay, so the last thing that I wanted to touch on, I want to leave some room for questions, is how the Ning in the meetup brings you up in a search. That also really depends on how common your name is too. Like if I search my name, I'm not going to come up. You won't see my Ning profile or my Google profile just because there's a million Ashley Thompsons. So it's kind of based on competitiveness. So obviously there's going to be pages with my name that are going to get much more weight than my Ning site or my Google profile. So if you don't see it, it's probably for that you just have a lot more competition in your name. So maybe try doing something a little bit more unique. Your business name, or give yourself a tagline or something like that, so that your name is just a little more unique, so you can be found a little bit easier. And that is everything I have. I'm going to refresh and see if there's any questions on my other computer. But if anyone sees any other questions, feel free to shout them out at me.
Hey, Ashley, I'm here with Marilyn, and she may have some questions coming in. Do you have any questions?
No, I don't. I'm just looking around here. If anybody is listening and you have a question, and for some reason we don't see it, if you will just email me at marilyn@womenspowernetworking.com. That's the easiest thing. I'll see it right now, and I'll be able to relay it if for some reason we don't notice it in the chat. Ashley, you got any questions?
My phone just went off.
Okay.
I actually have a comment, Ashley, while you're looking at your phone. That's a great point about your name. One reason I think that I'm able to come up is because my last name, there's only 3 of us. It's my brother, my mother, and I. So that, just to let you all know, I've determined no matter if I get married or what happens, I'm keeping that name. So again, you can't change it, but maybe add an initial, add something in front of it. So that's a really great point, I thought.
And also, while Ashley's looking through her phone or gathering up any other questions, if anybody else has them, I'm looking at my, here we go, let's see. Ashley,
I see Dory's.
here's one from, do you have it?
Yes. And that's actually a really good question. So she asked to talk about copyrighted photos and how using these can get you in trouble. And that is true, because that is something that happens, I've seen happen all the time. I've actually had clients who had a photo on their website and they got a letter asking for thousands of dollars because it was not her photo. It was copyrighted by a different photographer. Because if you go to Google and you search images and you pull that image off and put it on your profile, that's actually copyright infringement. You actually have to own the photos that you're putting on your social media and your profiles and things like that. Everybody breaks that rule. You see it all over, especially with the new social media age of sharing images. But even though everyone does it, you don't want to be the one person to take the wrong person's photo and get that letter in the mail. You want it to be a photo that you took. Or I use bigstock.com. I have a subscription there where I pay monthly to download the rights to photos, and I know that I can use those and not have to worry about copyright infringement.
Good. And again, I know that Chris just texted everybody, or not texted, but put in the chat my email, so if you are listening, and you are more than welcome to send me a question, and we'll do that. In the meantime, I do want to just say that we have a new Google Plus page for Women's Power Networking up. So please go there, follow it. We'll follow you back. We have several managers now, so that many of us can add content. Please add some juicy content about things you're doing. Make friends with people on there, share your events, do all that. Make it just go crazy. Just go crazy. And it is now also hooked up to YouTube, our YouTube channel. So if you post a video, it should, and maybe I'm speaking out of turn, but if you upload a video to it, then it will go to YouTube, and this way we'll have more and more links back and forth. So that's also extremely valuable. And if we'd like to be doing things like this more often for all of us. So some of these will be like new member things or existing, like just the basics, the Meetup, the Ning, or whatever platform we tend to use, or whatever. But in the future, we also want to do other types of social media, marketing things and stuff. And Jean's right here.
I just wanted to say all of this is the stuff you want to do. We all want to be doing in our business. And I want to give a hand to all of our presenters today for all the time they put into this, because I know I would not be doing this on my own. I'd be on my list saying it's a to-do that never gets done, and I'm going to get on all of this, and I'm so excited. I do mortgage lending, and this is just, it's perfect for everything that's going on to reach out to my clients. Thank you, guys. Can we clap for these ladies?
Yay! Can I just add one thing? And again, I know that this is kind of odd, but I do have to watch out for the Bar Association. They do give us $1,000 fines. So know that everything that was done today was done as a person, not as a law firm. I know this sounds odd, so I waited to the end to say this. So everything was for educational purposes. And again, I know it sounds odd, but they do watch us very regularly, and there was no attorney-client information provided.
And I just want to also reiterate what Jean said, because this was a lot of volunteer hours, and I really thank all these women that have put in so much to make this so much for all of us. And this is a learning in progress. So each time we do it, we'll do it even better, and then hopefully Google won't change it too much, so we won't have so much of a learning curve. What Misty just said is huge, because we have a lot of people in financial institutions and things that can't do some things. So follow her lead, because if she can do some things, that means you pretty much can too. And your website or your email is? So
For
if anybody wanted to get in touch with you.
my email address is, if it's of a legal nature, it's misty@pcarlaw.com. That's MISTY at pcarlaw. It's one word, lowercase. That's PIE as in pie, K as in kite, A as in apple, A as in apple, R as in rooster, law.com. Yes, I've done that a million times. If it's in regards to just basic networking questions, please send it to my personal address at mlpcar@hotmail.com. That's MLPIEKAAR@hotmail.com. I'm going to pass it to Heidi, and then I'm going to pass it to Ashley so that they can give their information as well.
Okay, thanks, Misty. If you would like to email me, you can also email me at oilsforhealthyliving@live.com. And also, I just wanted to mention real quick that for some of you, we chose the Google Hangout platform today so that we can do a proof of concept. You know, we're doing a Hangout on air, so it's automatically recorded to our YouTube channel. We're going to be posting it publicly right after the meeting here. You can also do private Hangouts with all of our WPN members, and you can do video chats. And guess what? If you want to do like a 5-minute or a 15-minute little video on your business and invite the world, do a Hangout on air, get your YouTube channel, and you can have more than just your circles of people being invited and watching you. So it's a great way to advertise what you do for your business. Ashley?
Hi, thank you. I just answered one more question, but if anyone has other questions or puts them on the Google Hangout comments, I will stick around for a little while and try to answer as many as I can. Otherwise, feel free to email me at ashley@smashcreativeservices.com. And there's also a big thank you to Marilyn, because I know she's been going back and forth between everyone this morning, so thank you, Marilyn.
Hey, Ashley, we do have one last question that came in through Maryland. The individual wanted to know if you cite the source that you use, is that acceptable?
Yes, I saw that from Chris. I do, since I am not an attorney, I don't want to say for sure. I posted a link to a site that I look at that talks about a lot of photo copyright issues, because that gets to be a little bit of a gray area. So I had the same thing come up when we were taking photos at a client's place and they had an event, and we didn't know if we needed to have forms to actually put their pictures on the website, because that was a question that came up. If you take pictures of people in public, can you use them? Because they probably don't know you're using them. And I'm waiting for the answer on that one. I have Legal Shield with one of our members, and I shot that question over to my attorney to ask to make sure as well, because I don't want to give a wrong answer. So that's a great area. I lean on the side of caution rather than asking for forgiveness with that stuff.
Hey, Ashley, I think you bring up a valid point, which is when in doubt, ask permission first.
Yes.
Pam is asking to post the information in the comments and email it. We'll send it out.
Okay.
Just let her know.
Well, if you'll hold on 1 second and let me see if there's any more comments, and I think that
I would encourage the organizers here, when you get a new member, point them to this video. Chris is going to be sending it out, but soon that people don't pay attention to what we send, and tell them to make the most of their membership, they should watch this. Maybe break it into 2 different sections or whatever, but all new members should be watching this.
And just for the people, Dean had said to just make sure that the new members in this video. That is it. Thank you, Heidi. Thank you, Ashley. Thank you all.
Now I'm leaving for Puerto Rico.
Enjoy your day. I'm going to stop the broadcast.